The Island Line Rail Trail is a 14-mile-long trail which travels along Lake Champlain in Burlington and Colchester, Vermont. The first segment runs from Austin Drive in Burlington to Mills Point Road in Colchester and is approximately 11 miles long.
So the official start of this rail trail is down near Austin Drive at the southern end of Oakledge Park. As you can see, it begins by going through a little stretch of woods. And though this is part of the rail trail, it in and of itself was not an old rail bed along this section. That doesn't begin until a little further up.
The trail leads up to Oakledge Park, where you'll find several parking areas. The trail follows close to the lake, then cuts over and runs next to the existing railroad.
So Aries and I are just now crossing the south end of the Vermont Railway's freight yard. And as you can see over here behind us, there are some grain hoppers. And then also on the left, you get a nice view of Lake Champlain. Aries, the adventurous husky, showing us that down there you can spot an old rail.
This rail is right next to the first pedestrian bridge.
And here we are reaching a pedestrian bridge. And right next to us is this old bridge here. And it looks like through there, some old gears. So I would guess that this was an old drawbridge of some type. So as you can see here, right beyond the pedestrian bridge and what looked like the drawbridge, see there's a little informational sign, Pine Street Barge Canal. You are here. So my theory that it was a drawbridge seems to be correct, because when the old canal was there, the train bridge would have to lift up to let the boats in and out.
Soon after the bridge, you'll come to the Vermont Railway's freight yard. Here you can see some freight cars and engines, along with a turntable and old roundhouse. The trail then cuts around the yard and loops back towards the tracks.
So here we are arriving at a split in the trail. As you can see, there's a sign right up there. Bike path to the right.
The trail heads down towards Burlington's waterfront from there.
So Aries and I have now arrived at the lakefront region in Burlington. You can see here it's a beautiful little pathway with trees lining both sides. We just passed by, looks like an old station house that's been renovated into an informational booth. The railroad, the active railroad, is next to us. And behind us from where we just came is the aquarium and the ferry, which heads over to New York State.
The trail travels through the waterfront and up to Lake Street, where you'll find the next parking area. As you walk along here, notice the old rail still embedded in the road, and a storage line on the right.
And a little side note of interest, up over where that rail line curves around is the North Avenue Tunnel, which was built back in the 1800s. I don't think there's actually a way to see it from here, but it's kind of cool to know that it's up over there. So as with many other trails, you'll come across a series of road crossings, so as always, be careful and courteous of other people on the road and on the trails. As you're hiking along, you'll notice painted on the trail there's mile markers, so you can be pretty sure of how far you've gone or how far you want to go.
As you approach the 4.75 mile mark, you come to Leddy Park, which has a large parking area.
Aries and I have just arrived at the Winooski River, where they have a large pedestrian bridge crossing over. So just like that, you might catch some wildlife, and over on the left side, there's some mountains. It's a very hazy day, so you can just barely make them out.
On the other side of the bridge, the trail turns into a catwalk, which travels 3/10 of a mile to Windermere Way.
Now immediately after the bridge and the catwalk, you'll come across this large parking area. But don't let it tempt you. This is not parking for the bikeway. However, you don't have to distress because only half a mile away there's a really large public parking area.
Before getting there though, you need to follow the trail through the residential area, but it's very well marked in here. Half a mile from the non-parkable lot is Airport Park, which has a large public lot and public restrooms. After Airport Park, the trail turns to gravel and follows Colchester Point Road a quarter of a mile to the next parking area. From there, it crosses a half-mile-long causeway and travels another quarter of a mile before hitting Mills Point Road.
At this point in time, you've hiked just about 11 miles, and you will be arriving at Mills Point Road, where you'll find the last parking area along here. And while the trail does continue another 3.5 miles or so, it goes out onto a giant causeway into Lake Champlain, and I figure that in and of itself needs to be its own segment. So for now, this is where I am. But if you're looking for a trail that follows along the lake, has some beautiful, beautiful views, nice cool breezes off of the lake itself, and some really great history, the Island Line Trail may be right for you.